It is time, ladies and gentlemen, to put an end to the charade and reveal which one of you is the booby trapper of Ravencourt Castle. Parker used his best dramatic voice. It was seasoned with anger. Also, welcome back to Out of Controllers, everyone.
It's a finale.
Yay!
It's about bloody time.
Said Major God.
For the finale? I've been watching this show for ages. We're probably in January or something now.
Better have it right this time, Parker.
Barbara.
I hold out no hope of that.
Sniffed Barbara Vandernoot. Silence! The first thing that became clear to me was the motive. More than one motive presented itself, swimming into view like a mirage in the desert. Yet I was not fooled. The real motive was obviously...
Would it be resentment?
Who... Resentment towards May? Who would,
Barbara.
And she would benefit from killing North and Dashalot and Fuling.
No, not all of them.
Okay.
I'd say an angry argument then.
Again, who argued? It was Fuling and North. What were they arguing about?
I don't remember, that was a long time ago.
Well,
It was this evening.
Yeah, like we learned they were arguing days ago, but why was Fuling arguing with North?
Because he needed the bloodstone for his act.
Okay. Why would he kill himself?
He would.
Yeah.
To get the stone. For death reasons.
It's gotta be greed for wealth then, because I don't see why it would be jilted love to kill all of them.
Why then concoct the story of the Goggle Reeb?
To throw everybody off?
Who's got the greed for the men not well?
Alright, let's think about this. So, North is killed. And the story of the Goggle Reeb is concocted. And in addition to that, Dashalot, Fuling, and Masterwood all die. What did they have in common? Specifically with respect to the Goggle Reeb.
They'd all, like, been in on the deal or something, right? Like,
yeah,
deal
with the
for what?
Bloodstone.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
bloodstone. Okay, so it'd just be the bloodstone.
Yeah.
There you go.
What happens if you get it wrong?
It, like lightning flashes and it gets angry at you. Like it's not actually bad things happen. It's just like it's less satisfying. So, the motive, of course, was the bloodstone. You see, I believe the killers have plotted this for months, perhaps years, perhaps even since reading about North Vandernoot's purchase of the stone. And the first step in this dire plan was North Vandernoot's murder.
He died of natural causes!
Barbara Vandernoot had snorted.
I attended the inquest myself. Really, Inspector, you should know that much.
Yes, said Parker. The inquest did rule death by natural causes, but they were wrong. I shall tell you how North Vandernoot died.
It was the bachelor button, right?
Good job. No.
No. Wrong.
Yeah.
It was the poison. The other poison.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, you can't click
God
it. It
damn
just tells you.
It was a I couldn't remember if it was the bachelor button or...
Maybe you should have reviewed that before the test.
I'm sorry!
Yes, just scream at our audience. It's fine.
North Vandernoot was killed by the administration of a lethal dose of an acondium. Monk's head. It was dangerously stimulating effect on the heart, and it caused the fatal heart attack. Philippa Egerton lit a cigarette with a shaking hand. Whoever did that will pay, she said in a deceptively mild tone. Yes, said Parker, they will indeed. But North Vandernoot's death was critical to the killer, you see. Not only did North have to be removed, but this gathering for his funeral was part of the plan. Rather than saying the killer brought us here deliberately, Major Gunn demanded. But good heavens, man! How did they know about us? And why? All in good time, Major, all in good time. We must follow the killer step by step. Parker's eyes lingered on each of their faces. Step by step. He was pleased to see a trace of fear where he had expected to find it. First, there was the death of Milton Masterwood. He was killed by the dogs. Why such a bizarre method? Surely a gun or a knife would have been easier. But the killer was trying to replicate the story of the Goggle Reeb. How the killer know the dogs were attacked Masterwood? Colin asked, skeptical. He was known to work in the library, said Parker, which had easy access from the garden. As for the dogs, they were...
That would be the bachelor buttons.
Correctamundo.
Yep.
The killer fed the dogs bachelor buttons, also from the garden. The flower induces agitation and aggression. They might well have attacked anyone, but in fact, Master Wood was the only one in a room the dogs had access to at the time.
Seems far-fetched to me.
Barbara Vandernoot said, her face pinched. Does it indeed? Parker said, smiling darkly at her. What about Dashlot? Major Gunn demanded. Yes, precisely. You and Dashlot were in the dining room together. A note came under the door. How would the killer know Dashlot would be the one to pick it up? Gunn blustered, looking a bit guilty. The killer did not know, Parker answered smartly, but it didn't matter. They gambled that either one of you would be compelled enough by a note from May to take the bait. The truth was, Major Gunn, you and Dashlot were both on the target list. Good Lord, Gunn said, sinking back into his chair. But it was Dashlot who took up the note, read it, and went down to the furnace room to meet May. He met his fate by...
Hooray! That did not circle the whole
By a
sentence.
poker.
The killer struck Edmund Dashlot over the head with a poker, knocking him out, and then put him in the furnace. How could anyone be so brutal? Philippa asked, looking ill. Takes a cold, cold heart, Parker said grimly. The complete absence of a moral core. Oh yes, our killer is quite psychotic. Monsieur, you are mistaken about everything. It is the gargoyle, Juliet exclaimed, her wide blue eyes glittering. No, my dear, said Parker quietly, it is not. Now, for the death of Fu Ling. No human killer could have done that, May insisted, even if one of us were capable of all those other horrible things. But that is precisely what you were supposed to think, said Parker. Fu Ling and the General, and Gerald, that's his name, Gerald, were in the dining room, and once again, either of them would have suited the killer's purpose equally well, for both had links to the Bloodstone. It was the fate of the last one of them to leave the room to be chosen for death. Major Gunn, you escaped the killer twice. My word, Gunn muttered weakly. My word. Fu Ling's death was the most difficult to pull off and the most heartless. I will tell you how it was accomplished. First, he was...
The blow dart.
Very good.
Yep.
Rendered unconscious by a blow dart. But the killer had very little time before we were all gathered in the music room once again, and their planned method for killing the victim would take some time. You see, he was to be killed by...
See, I would have guessed this anyway.
Yeah.
Because none of the other things are right.
Right.
Being prematurely embalmed.
Having his blood drained by a vacuum device from the basement. Because Inspector Parker, was in the house, the killer could not afford to take their time over Fu Ling, so the unconscious man was hooked up to the dreadful machine and... Well done. Placed in the dumbwaiter until the killer had time to make sure he was dead and to arrange the body for maximum effect. Barbara Vandernoot stood up aghast.
But that is too bizarre! Why would anyone do such a thing? You must be insane!
Not I, Mrs. Vandernoot, but that is exactly what I asked myself. What would drive a killer to go to such Herculean efforts? But you see, it was for a very good purpose. And that brings us to the Gargoyle. For the Gargoyle is the point, after all. It is the raison d'etre of this entire charade. You see, I found a gramophone used to produce the Gargoyle's cry in the Vandernoot crypt. Daniel.
That old intercom.
Franklin said, excited.
Gosh, I nearly forgot all about that.
Gosh, Mickey.
Gosh!
Gorge! I made of flies!
Yes, Parker said. The old intercom that Mortimer Vandernoot had installed so that he would be able to summon the house if he were buried prematurely. That was how the killer produced the Gargoyle's cry. But that is how, not why. If the Bloodstone was the desired goal, why not simply steal it? And what, for that matter, is the purpose of all the booby trapping?
Yes, why?
Asked the Countess, her eyes narrowing.
I don't believe this story for a moment. Why would someone do this thing?
To instill fear, Countess. To instill terror. I admit I was confused for a time. Then the clouds parted and all became clear. Once you understand the killer's agenda, it is also clear who the killer is.
I want to say it's the Countess?
Really? Why is
What's
that?
your reasoning?
She's the only one with, like...
I agree, she is the only one with Okay.
Maybe it was actually Juliet then.
Well, okay.
She's the one who's so insistent about the Gargareeb, and we found her fucking lace thing, but I feel like that might be a red herring just because they're like.
Well, okay. All right. Okay. Let's take this slowly. Can one person have done this?
I think no. Maybe.
All right. Let's think about the last murder. Everyone in the house was accounted for by one other person at every moment in time.
So no,
Right.
because they would have had to be working together.
Right. So, it has to have been two people. So, okay. So, who do you think absolutely it can't be?
Not Franklin and not May.
Okay, I agree. They're too straight.
It's
They're
true.
too straight. I also don't think it was Barbara.
Okay.
Okay. Which would, remove Philippa, since she and Barbara were the pair at the end.
So who was paired up at the end too? There was
Colin and Major Gunn, and the Countess and Juliet.
I'm gonna say the Countess and Juliet.
Okay.
Okay. Correct and correct.
Well done. I, Inspector Parker, became convinced that there were at least two people in on this plot. You see, at the time of the murders, each person had an alibi provided by at least one of the others. I had already eliminated Major Gunn. It is true that he needed money, but his fear is genuine, if cowardly. Wow, alright. Casual, toxic masculinity there.
It's so toxic.
Also, he was not here at the time of North's death and could not know the house intimately. Then there is Philippa. She had loved North, and he had never had an interest in her. There's nothing so dangerous as a woman scorned. And yet, she had in fact moved on. With the gardener.
What?
Barbara Vandernoot exclaimed, shocked. No, Parker continued in a smug voice. Philippa's motive for harming North came and went. As for Colin, he had access to the dogs and the handkerchief of bachelor buttons I found in the kitchen. But he was in Philippa's room the night North died, and thus could not be his murderer.
What?
Barbara sank into a chair, extremely pale. Philippa rolled her eyes and took a drag on her cigarette.
What do you mean?
Asked Franklin, glancing at May worriedly. I mean Countess Rodriguez, said Parker, pinning the dark-haired lady with his eyes.
I?
Said the Countess innocently. Yes, you. Why the dark makeup? It's true you're pretending to be Spanish and to have known North, which you did not. But not all Spaniards are as dark as you have made yourself up to be. No, you wear it to disguise your face, is that not so? It was Philippa who unwittingly said that she kept thinking she had met you before. With your makeup, it is a subtle thing. Without it, it would be clear that you are the sister of Juliet Minouche. That is not true, Juliet said, springing up. Ladies and gentlemen, Parker announced, may I introduce you to the daughters of the famous jewels thief, Dirk the Smirk, Juliet and Isabel Chamberlain. That is a ridiculous lie, Juliet shouted, her face red with fury.
Next page.
Oh, but it is horribly true, my dear, said Parker grimly. You see, it all ties back to the Gargareeb. Why did you not simply steal the bloodstone? Because, as the daughters of Dirk the Smirk, you knew that you cannot fence a famous gemstone. Of course we knew. Juliet spat out, her English suddenly much improved. My father wasted his life stealing jewels and ransoming them back to their owners. It was laughable. He never put a quarter of the gem's value, and he was bound to be caught at it. So you devised a plan, said Parker, in which you would become the legal owner of the stone by terrorizing May so badly she would sell it for practically nothing. That's why North had to go. He would never have succumbed to your intimidation. But May nearly did. Very clever, mademoiselle. Very horrible, but very clever. But then you are much smarter than you let on, are you not? Gerald and Franklin grabbed the Countess, but Juliet stepped back, a gun appearing in her hand. She pointed the weapon at Parker and fired. The gun jammed. Juliet pressed the trigger 3 times, but nothing happened. Parker watched her, smiling. With a scream of rage, she tried to run from the room. But as she stepped on a floor tile, trying to dodge around the Major, something happened. The tile depressed, and there was a faint click. And the chandelier came crashing down, right on top of Juliet. The end.
end.
So that's Betrapped, children.
That's incredible chance of the gun jammed.
Well, I think the fact that Parker smiles, they're arrested, and look, the wedding picture of the Straits. Ain't that
Franklin
cute?
and May Egerton.
It's like the same thing, only slightly edited. And we continue.
Yup.
And that's it.
And we're done.
So yeah, I think the fact that Parker smiles when she pulls out the gun and it jams means that, like, it's supposed to indicate that, like,
He fucked with it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I feel that. But yeah, that's Betrapped.
Yep.
Yay!
My first introduction to murder mystery, the Goggle Reeb scared the shit out of me. The ever-loving shit.
Those are just random computer screams, and it's like, that's horrifying.
It's not random, it's at the end of every act, but
I
like
know,
when you're a
when
wee
you're a
babu.
babe, you don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have taken me a long time to figure out it was like at the end of every act.
Uh-huh. Ugh. And that's the conclusion, really. Another complete series on Out of Control. It never happens. So you
Except
can
for when I'm
celebrate it.
here.
No.
No, it's true.
I mean, so far.
Yeah, Nancy Drew now Betrapped.
Just the mysteries.
I'm playing another Nancy Drew.
I mean, yeah, eventually.
I'm so excited. I love Nancy Drew, guys.
No
We
way.
couldn't tell.
Alright.
Alright, thanks for watching this game, guys.
Watching.
We will see you on the next game we play on Out of Controllers.
Which is probably not determined yet.
Hush.
They don't need to know that.
Alright,
Alright.
thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.